Hello again. My name's Emma and welcome to Faith Night Friday. We're here again already. God, these weeks are just going woo, woo, woo. Anyway, we're just going to jump right in because it just seems like every time I do this, time just goes by so fast. So, again, we are in the book of Saul, and that's what we are reading today. And we are on 1 Samuel, book of Saul. Did I say it's book of Saul? No. 1 Samuel, chapter 29. So that's where we are at, okay? So, let me just jump in here. And this is going to be a quick one. It's not going to be that long. Okay, so here we go. So, David is rejected by the Philistines. The Philistines brought all their troops together at Ephek, while the Israelites camped at the spring in Jezreel Valley. The 5 Philistines kings marched out with their units of 100 and of 1,000 men. David and his men marched in the rear with King Achish. The Philistine commanders saw them and asked, "What are these Hebrews doing here?" Achish answered, "This is David, an official King Saul of Israel. He has been with me for quite some time now. He has done nothing I can find fault with since the day he came over to me." But the Philistines' commanders were angry with Achish and said to him, "Send that fellow back to the town you gave him. Don't let him go into battle with us. He might turn against us during the fighting. What better way is there for him to win back his master's favor than by the death of our men? After all, this is David, the one about whom the women sang as they danced. Saul has killed 1,000, but David has killed 10,000. So Achish called David and said to him, "I swear by the living God of Israel that you have been loyal to me. I will be pleased to have you go with me and fight in this battle. I have not found any fault in you from the day you came over to me. But the other kings don't approve of you. So go back home in peace and don't do anything that would displease them." David answered, "What have I done wrong, sir? If, as you say, you haven't found any fault in me since the day I started serving you, why should I go with you? Why shouldn't I go with you, my master and king, and fight your enemies?" "I agree," Achish replied. "I consider you are loyal as an angel of God. But the other kings have said that you can't go with us into battle. So then David, tomorrow morning, all of you who left Saul and came over to me will have to get up early and leave as soon as it's light." So David and his men started out early the following morning to go back to Philistia, and the Philistines went on to Jezreel. And that was it for 29. I told you it was going to be quick. Okay, so that's where we are at there. And I could have sworn, let me put this here. What is this? Homemade dough. Okay, so we're going to leave that there. So it was a little bit quicker than the other one. And we are going to go to 1 Samuel 29. And let's see what the contemporary chapter commentary says. Okay? So we're going to go on 29. I haven't read this yet. Okay? So just to let you know, I haven't read it. Okay, so we're going to read Christians and the occult. I think I read that last week. Okay, so and I am so sorry. Last week, I did, I did do it at this time, and if you know, it's always Faith Night Friday, but when I uploaded after 2:30 or 4, it won't go up until almost close to midnight, which is crazy. So I got to make sure that I upload this up at least by 3 o'clock so that you can see it at around 7. Okay. So 1 Samuel 29. Sometimes I feel like I need more lights. David was out of place, but God in his mercy cared for him. This is encouragement to us when we sin, but it must not become an excuse for sin. That would be tempting God. The king never once detected what was going on. So David must have been a gifted actor. However, what value is there in being successful at deception? Hypocrisy and lying destroyed King Saul. The Lord used the song that got David into trouble with Saul to get him out of trouble with the Philistines. Saul was not David's enemy, and David did not want to meet him on the battlefield and fight against his own people. But when you fraternize with the enemy, you create difficult problems. Let us be grateful for Psalms 103, 10, 14. What is fraternize? Fraternize. So I'm kind of lost in this. So David was out of place, but God in his mercy cared for him. This is an encouragement to us when we sin, but it must not become an excuse to sin. So David did a lot of things, even when he became king, he still did a lot of things that were wrong. But God was still always, protecting him because he was going to be king. If that makes any sense. I'm still learning this. Okay. So the king never once detected what was going on. So David must have been a good actor. And I think they're talking about Saul. However, what value is there being successful at deception? Hypocrisy and lying destroyed King Saul. Okay, yeah, because Saul wasn't more like, he wasn't really into wanting to be king. He kind of like just played the role, just going through the motions, but never really leading the people of Israel to be who they were supposed to be as godly people. So fraternize. Let's see what fraternize means. Let's see. I tell you guys, if you ever want to know anything, go on your phone. Your phone has all the information you need to know to look up whatever no, let me go back. Okay, I'm going to I spelled it wrong. I swear I can't see. Fraternize definition. Okay, so fraternize. Associate or form a friendship with someone, especially when one is not supposed to. She ignored Elizabeth's warning, glare against fraternizing with the enemy. That's kind of just putting it in a sentence. So, and David did not want to meet on the battlefield and fight against his own people. But when you fraternize with the enemy, you create difficult problems. Saul was not David's enemy, and David did not want to meet him on the battlefield and fight against his own people. I gotta read that again because I could have sworn Achish didn't want him. on the battlefield, right? Wait. Okay, so Thousand David, because he said, Achish, this is David, an official king, the official of King Saul's of Israel. He had been with me, blah, blah, blah. The Philistines' commander was angry. Send him back. Don't let him go into battle with us. He might turn against us during the fighting. What better way is there for him to win back his master's favor? So he was going to go with Achish, who was in the commander of Saul's army, right? And David was in Philistia. So when he came and said, oh, well, David's going to join us to fight, and that Achish said no. No, the commander said no, because this way, all he's going to do is try to find favor with Saul. And I remember Saul was out to kill David, and David never knew why. All he knew was that this guy really wants to do me in. And eventually, what did happen? Eventually Saul ended up, now there was a lot of things that Saul did. When Saul tried to kill him twice, and David had a chance to kill Saul, and that's what he was, crying and saying that, oh, no, I had that crocodile tears that, you never did anything wrong to me. You're right, I'm wrong, and so forth. But him trying to get good graces back with Saul, I have to read further into that. But he evidently, the commander did, and Achish didn't want to, even though he did bring David with him, the commander didn't want nothing to do with David. So he said, no, send him back. We don't want any trouble, or we don't want nothing. So, and what did he say about David? There's a truck. So David did not want to meet on the battlefield or fight against his own people. But when you fraternize with the enemy, you create difficult problems. So I'm still trying to figure out who was the enemy. Was it the Philistines or Israel? Because Israel was who they were going to fight against the Philistines, right? And yet David lived among the Philistines. So I don't know. I gotta read more into that. Well, we're learning. We are learning. But anyway, there was something that I did want to talk to you about, and hopefully, the doggy will let me. So anyway, I was thinking about that everything that happens to us, and how we got from Genesis to where we are now and everything, and how the world has been changing, so much from before Christ and after Christ and everything like that. And then I started thinking about, well, how would it be if Adam and Eve never sinned? I mean, how would our lives be if that never happened? Because you have to remember, God did say that we fall short from the glory of God. So we only have a smidget of the glory that we have. But if it wasn't because Adam and Eve sinned, the glory would have been even more astronomical. It would have been wow, But we only have a smidget of that glory, just a touch of it. So I was always thinking, I could imagine how life, or what our living conditions would have been if we still had the paradise. We would be living in paradise, right? How things would have been. But sorry, it's the coffee. But then I thought about, okay, so I started thinking about the book of life, and I said, well, we come into this world, and I don't know, it's just that sometimes I feel like what are we doing here? Like, what's our main, objective, or what is the reason? Because a lot of people have that question, what's the whole purpose of life, and why are we here? So then I started thinking about, the book of life that, that it's always talked about. And, because once we come into the world, we come into the world, naked. We're not born with a brand outfit, from whoever famous person made. I mean, we come into the world naked, and naked we come in, and naked we go out. But and then when we pass, when all is said and done, and we lived our life, and it's our turn to meet the Creator, we have to stand before Him, and on top of that, we're naked. Naked we came, and naked we're gonna meet our Creator. We ain't gonna have nothing on us. So we're gonna stand before Him naked, no less. And I had this feeling that when you meet Him, when you see Him, your whole body is gonna feel sick. It's gonna feel like you want to throw up. You have to remember, it's He knows all about you, and you're probably going to be crying uncontrollably on top of that. I mean, you're standing. I remember them saying that you'll be standing, in front of the throne, and you'll be there seeing the Creator, and Jesus will be on the right side. So you have that to deal with, Judgment Day, right? Scary stuff. So then, so you're going to go through all these feelings, and then on top of that, He has a book, which is called the Book of Life, right? And if your name is not found, if you're not in right standing, if your name is not found in that book, then you're doomed. You're going where. So then I said, okay, so then, I guess our whole purpose, our whole reason of being, because you have to remember, this is not our world. We don't, because of what Adam and Eve did, they ruined it for us. They this is not how we're supposed to be living, but it's kind of like we're stuck here, and we kind of don't have no way out. The only way out is by living righteously and get out of this world and get to the one that we were supposed to be living. I do look at a lot of videos of after life, after death experiences and things like that. And they always talk about things, but they never really get to the point of what they really saw and stuff. But they talk about how vivid everything is up in heaven, how clear and how dim everything is down here, and how once you leave, you feel more alive up there than you do down here. Well, yeah, because we're living a life we're not supposed to be living down here. This whole world wasn't meant this way. So I go, well, if it's dim, it's probably because of all the pollution in the air. I mean, sometimes I feel that way too. It's like I barely see anything on the pollution. But just joking aside. But I guess our whole purpose, really, if you really think about it, is if you can start today, turn away from your wicked and evil ways. I had to write it down because I'm like, turn from your evil and wicked ways today. Start today. Because once you pass and once you've done everything that you did in your life and that judgment day comes, you want to be in right standing when you meet your Creator. Because if your name is not found in that book, and believe me, He will show you everything that you did. And He'll talk to you about everything that you did. I mean, pretty sure He'll have, rows and rows of film showing you every wrong that you did. And He's going to open that book. And He's going to see if your name is in there. And if it's not in there. So, I guess for our goal being on this earth, get your name in that book. Do all you can to get your name in that book. That's your goal in this life, in this world. You know how you have teams and they join, whatever, a basketball team or a volleyball team or whatever in school, whatever sports they're in, and then they go and they look like on the board, or even if it's for ballet or whatever, and you look at the board to see if your name is on there, and then when it's not on there, you feel like, many at night you feel sick. All that hard work that you did and everything, and you're trying, and then you're not on there. It's like you feel like, what, and that's how it is. You don't want to feel that way. You're going to feel that terrible feeling that you feel like you, like not so much failed, but you didn't do your best or whatever. And probably because you didn't put your all into it, maybe. But, and then when you do see your name in there, you're like, yay, I made it, yay. Well, that's how it is. You have to do everything you can to get your name in that book. Because if you don't, the outcome is going to be bad. It's not going to be good. Here in the world, you could always do it again. You have second chances. You could always, do better. And in this life, to get your name in that book, you only have one shot. And that's it. Either you make it or you don't. So, yeah, that's an eye-opener, I think, But we got, try to do our best. Maybe next week I'll tell you, well, how do you get your name in that book? How do we do this? How do we strive and do all we can to get our name? And I'm pretty sure that book is humongous. There you are. You're right here. How do we do that? So maybe next week I'll look into it and I'll tell you what it is that you need to do to get your name in the book of life. Okay, guys, so that's all I got for today. Hope I didn't take too much longer than I did the other day. Well, I mean last Friday, because this one was short. I think the last week was a little bit longer. But anyway, just something I had to put out there for you guys. It's a daily thing, so strive all you can. I mean, if you need to know more, just Google it. Find out things for yourself. You have a phone, you have Google. Find out whatever you feel like you need to feed yourself about anything. Sometimes I feel, well, a lot of people don't believe in God but I do believe they believe in a higher power. I do believe that they have a spirit, just like I know you believe you have a soul, and we feed our souls, by watching this and doing that to become a better person, than we are. Well, why don't you, and I know that you have a spirit. So why don't you feed that spirit with the Word of God and see where it leads you? What harm can it do? If things are not working right for you or something's wrong, well, feed your spirit a little something and see what happens. You never know. You never know what will open up in your life. So give it a go. Give it a shot. So, but yeah, that's all I have for you today. And like a fish in the sea, so I'm glad you caught me. And we will see you. We're almost finished with 1 Samuel, so we'll be going into 2 Samuel very soon. I think we only have like 2 more chapters and then we're done with 1 Samuel. Okay, guys, we'll see you in a bit. Have a good night. Bye-bye.